It's been a few weeks since we've done this, and we're going to go back to something that I do pretty much every year. Is we're going to figure out where we are right now, typically where records in the NFL end up, and then we're going to decide who to fade. I think last year is about week 8. We decided that the Cardinals were not as good as the 8-0, and we started betting money line against the Cardinals every single week. And I think that we cashed half of them, and give or take, I don't have that data in front of me, but we cashed more than half of them, and they lost to somebody like the very next week that we called that out, and they lost to somebody, and it paid to us like plus 425. We did that last year, so this is the time of year where I'm not ready to pull the trigger on who that team is to fade, because really it's kind of Philly and everybody else, at least as far as the running away with all the wins. So I think a couple weeks, and we're gonna make that move. But college, I kind of have the same approach. We're going to run through the financial breakdown of where we stand, and I'm just gonna start with talking about the dog money line account. So we talked about it at the beginning of the season where this came from, and I actually brought this up on the Weekend Crunch on 103.9 with the New York guys. It started on, it's two guys sitting in a bar having some drinks saying, you know what? If you were to just do this every week, you'd win money. Well, instead of saying it, I decided to do it. So I opened up an account and, using my own units, but, doing the math down to where it's relatable at a $20 a week investment, $1.25 on every single underdog, but taking the money line for them to win outright. Uh, where we are right now, and I hope that everybody's following along. We started off with $20, and the account before laying this week's action was at $33. So, uh, you know, breaking it, if you were to scale that up to whatever everybody's unit is, I'm guessing, everybody's unit is bigger than $1.25. But if you were to scale that up, that's a pretty good return to go from $20 to $34. I mean, that is a beyond a 50%. I think that flirts with 63% ROI right there. Anybody dealing with Wall Street 401k, that's a pretty good number, and that's just a blind system money line underdog. So we're going to keep that one going. And then talking about other updates, we talked the first time around, and I'm just going to revisit it. Your decision is: am I here to invest? Am I here to gamble? Am I here for income? And so we're just going to focus on the bankroll management and the results where we would be if you had if you had a $500 bankroll to start the season. We decided that 2% of our total bankroll was at least I said we're going to use 2% of the total bankroll as the unit size. Some of these gurus on TikTok, they would tell you that you use 1%. However, we did 2. So we started off with I'm holding up air quotes, an air quote $500 bankroll at $10. We pressed, we paid ourselves. It's been about 3 weeks since we've recorded and gotten a good update. But where we stand right now, the bankroll is at $827. And we have paid ourselves $370. Like, actually remove that cash from the account. So that's on the income side of things. So $375 in income since the start of the college football season. We're on week 8 right now. From a $500 initial investment, but that bankroll is now up to $830. So we've actually cash flowed in 2 different scenarios, and our current unit size is $32. That's just by staying disciplined, betting a proper unit, and good picks. Some of those picks, and I'm tracking every single pick that I make. So we're using our baseline picks, but then we're using the live action, the live action that I post. That's there, and the other math. I I can't get every pick that I make out to everybody, and you can't get every pick you make out to me for me to track the data. So I'm assuming that the live action everybody's doing on their own, that's kind of private live action, is winning at the same rate. So that's kind of the report card where we sit right now. If you're following a disciplined strategy, the second that you deviate from the strategy, and when I say deviate from the strategy, If our unit size is $32 and you bet $50 on something, you're dead in the water. You now are gambling. You're no longer investing. You're no longer operating a business that is set up for income and cash flow. You've now crossed over into gambling. You've put too much weight onto one wager, and that's just not how that's just not that's just going down a different path. So that's deviation. You stay with the unit size. If we have a losing week, if you lose in any cash, you at that point you would take the 2% times the total bankroll that's remaining, and that becomes your new unit size. That's a difficult thing. When you lose, you want to go right back to where you came from. You have to allow yourself to be okay with the money you've already taken out and where the account has already grown, and you got to be okay to wake up Monday morning with a 7% gain from the prior week, and life is good. So that's my speech on bankroll management. Let's talk about some games. Let's talk about some football a little bit. Looking at college, and at this point, this is our third year of doing this on this Discord page, and everybody knows last year uh, we called out Alabama pretty good. Uh, and I'll just talk specifically about Alabama's last three games. Um, I don't know why, but my Bama radar has been pretty on point. But we took Auburn and the points in the Iron Bowl. Then we took Bama in the SEC championship game, and then we took Georgia in the Natty. So we nailed Bama to close out the season. Now I'm looking at Alabama, and I'm looking at them to close out their season. I believe they have two more losses. They have not had a 3-loss season under Saban since year one. This is a very different Bama team. They're giving up points to teams. They're hanging around. There's just odd things that are going on with this Bama team. Bryce Young is injured, and I don't think that the quarterback behind him is as good, and they don't have the same coordinator that they did when they had Kiffin, when they had Sark, some of these other coordinators. So I'm looking at Bama with two more losses. So to go back to that NFL conversation, so we're looking at Mississippi State, LSU, Ole Miss, Austin P, Auburn. I think it's safe to say they ain't losing Austin P. They're not going to lose to that team. So we'll just throw out the Saturday, the 19th of November game. I'm looking at this week's game. 21 and a half points. 21 and a half points Bama is giving up to a very high-powered, capable offense and a good quarterback. Will Rogers for Mississippi State, he's one of those quarterbacks you don't hear a lot about now, but when we're scraping the bottom of the pudding cup trying to put together 10 quarterbacks to talk about at the combine or players to even care about when there's no football, the name Will Rogers will come up. And so I think 21 and a half points is too many. I don't think this is the game that Alabama loses at LSU. Bama's going to be a double-digit favorite in every single one of these games to close out the season. I hope that they're a double-digit favorite in every single one of these games. Bama typically coming off a loss is a big favorite. So I'm taking the points against Bama every single week to close out the season. I think that the best opportunity for them to lose is going to be at LSU. I don't think that they're going to, and I think Auburn is another opportunity, and Auburn's probably going to be the biggest cash making opportunity. Ole Miss, Saban is not going to lose to Lane, and Lane came out just a little overzealous last year. He was going for it on fourth down, and Ole Miss had a real shot, but I just don't think Ole Miss has the quarterback play. But at LSU, and I think Brian Kelly is an ass clown, and I think that Notre Dame, I would never put money on them. I think Brian Kelly is nothing but a knee taker, and he's just not good for business. But I like their chances here in this game against Bama here on the 5th. And again, we're going to take the points. Probably going to go into these games one unit, 3/4 of a unit on the points, and 0.25 of a unit on the money line. That's going to be my play against Bama from now to close out the season. And then, I'm even going to do that on Austin P. Upsets do happen. People do win the lottery, and you got to buy a ticket in order to win the lottery. So that's kind of my upset special. I'm looking at Alabama. I'm going to go to the NFL real quick, unless anybody's got anything on college. Does anybody want me to go somewhere on college? Because I posted a bunch of picks this week. All right, we're going to the NFL. So the team at this point that I am going to completely jump on the bandwagon. So we're going to take the opposite approach that we just did. So we just found a team to fade in college. Now I'm taking a team that we're going to ride for the remainder of the season, whether they're a favorite or a dog. Um, we're going New England, and I like New England right now because nobody else does. New England's playing against the Bears; they're going to win and cover. Then they're going at the Jets the day before Halloween. The Jets are going to win another game this week, and they got a lot of momentum going, and they're gonna run into Daddy, being Bill Belichick. They're 3-3 right now. I see them as a 10-win team. I see them as a 10-win team because if you want to look at who they close out their season, so they're going to get the Bills twice. And I think it's reasonable to say that they could possibly beat the Bills on the last game of the season because the Bills won't be fighting for anything and the Patriots will. So that's going to be a game where Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs and Von Miller, all those players sit out. So I think they have a good opportunity to split the Bills. So but we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's 10 more games. We're going to give them one win against the Bills. They got the Jets twice. Logic would tell you that they split that, but I actually think they're going to sweep the Jets. And I say that because the first time they're going to beat them because the Jets are going to be coming off a high. I think the second time they beat them is going to be because Belichick is coming off of a bye week, and you don't mess with Bill Belichick coming off a bye week. Statistically, I believe Andy Reid, percentage-wise, is the only quarterback in the history of college or in the history of football better. So they're gonna play the Colts in the middle. I think we know which way that's going. Minnesota is going to be a hard-fought game. They're going at Arizona, at the Raiders, and then they're gonna be in prime time. The Cardinals, statistically, Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury, statistically, don't do well in prime time. Then the following week they're going to go at the Raiders in prime time. Another one that's going to be pretty tough fought. So you just go down this list and I feel like they have 5 to 7 wins for sure. I mean, they're for sure going to win 8 total games, but I think that they're going to win 7. So the 3 losses, they're probably going to lose one to Buffalo. They may lose to the Bengals because I think the Bengals are still going to be fighting with the Browns, and at that point in the season, it's going to be the Deshaun Watson Browns. The Bengals are also going to be fighting with the Ravens. So the Bengals are going to be a tough one on Christmas Eve. But and Minnesota is going to be a tough one. But those are the ones. Those are the ones that I see as a tough. I think they're so. I am personally riding the Patriots for a unit, and I'm going to take the points for a full unit in every scenario where they're a dog, and I'm going to. I'm also going to do a quarter unit on the money line every situation that they're a dog. In the scenarios where they're laying points, I'm just gonna lay the points, and I'm just gonna trust the process. And the Patriots for 2 decades now, Bill Belichick makes the playoffs and wins 10 games, and that's just how it goes. So I think that they're just warming up. They're trying to figure out quarterback, and that's kind of where I'm at. Next week there'll be a team to fade in the NFL. We need 2 more weeks. We need to get to where we're halfway through the season, and there's a little bit more to understand in the NFL. I'm going to stop there. Does anybody have anything on this one?
Sounds good, bro.
All right. And the last thing I'm going to say, anybody that's not making money, send me a DM. Like, send me a DM because at this point, I feel like we got this season on complete cruise control. I feel better about this season than any season we've been in before. And part of it is because we're taking more underdogs. Every single week, half the picks, we're taking points. And God, it is so much less stress when the underdog goes ahead. But I'm writing down every single play. I have a pad of paper and it doesn't get touched. Like I keep it with me. The wife, she knows the pad of paper I'm talking about, and it stays on my nightstand. If I wake up with some football thought, I write it down. But while I'm watching games, if I quickly, fast finger a live play, I write it down. Like last night, I was on App State, and they were down by 14. Boom! I jumped on them plus 250, and I wrote it down, money line, and I go back and I flip back a couple weeks, and I'm actually looking at, am I good at live action? How much live action do I have? How much do I have on either game? And I'm actually trying to figure out what went wrong and where. And I don't like to jump into a lot of live action if I don't have anything cashed. I really only do it if I have to. But write everything down, and go back a couple weeks and figure out where you've been and what you did, because we have a winning record right now on baseline picks. If you've done nothing but take my picks, and again, I don't want to be known as the pick guy, but the picks that are being posted are winning right now. If that's all you've done, you should be walking away a winner. And if not, you owe yourself an explanation, because the group on a whole should be winning. And the answer might be you're not good at live action. The answer might be you're a sucker for certain teams. The answer might be you're drunk at the 11 o'clock hour and making bad decisions. But there is an answer somewhere there. And, send me a DM, because the name of this game is making money. Saturday mornings is when I'm doing CFL stuff. I'm laying off of the CFL this week because there's only one playoff spot to be determined, and I think the teams are going to start resting. We only have one more week before the CFL playoffs. I'm really looking forward to this Grey Cup this year. I think that I think that the East is a lot more competitive, and I'm hoping that Sask clinches the crossover, because I'd love to see Sask go against Winnipeg in the Grey Cup. But Saturday nights, typically on the weekend crunch, we talk for a while, and I usually give out one or two picks, and most of the time, because it's a New York based show, we talk about New York, and I will make a point of involving an opinion, if not an official pick, about the Giants or the Jets. There's been a lot of Yankee talk lately. I don't know why. Are they doing anything important? I don't really know. But there's been a lot of Yankee talk, and but there's more picks that I'm putting out on there, and I try and post those. Last week I called out a Monday Night Football game, and turns out we were right. I think that second half Chaz just about had a heart attack when I said Monday Night Football, because he's known me for 10 years, and very rarely do I call out a Monday Night Football or a primetime game, but when we do, we win them. So. That's where I'm at. I think that's a good earful. Hopefully everybody can learn something, and there's some picks up. Anybody got anything?
I don't have anything, bro. Just writing your picks. That's all I'm doing. So I appreciate it for sure.
Are you making money?
Can't complain.
Attaboy. Good. Well,
I'll complain, but I haven't started yet.
What'd you say?
I said I'll complain, but I haven't played them yet. So,
well, you might throw $20 in an account. If you start an MGM account, I think they give you a free $200.
Yeah.
At least that was the promo in Kansas, because we went sports betting legal in Kansas.
Yeah, I'll get there eventually. I'm at like 110% capacity right now with stuff, so it'll slow down eventually. But it's very intriguing to me. So,
all right. Well, everybody have a great week. Cash some tickets, and we'll talk again.
All right, boys. Thanks.
Thanks a lot.